All right, I think we are about ready to begin. I want to say good afternoon to everyone who's joining us for our latest webinar in the NIMBL Info Series, Spartacus and SAP Commerce Cloud. A little bit about us. First off, I'm Jake Eispart, part of the marketing team. We are NIMBL. We are an SAP Gold partner, providing both consulting and project services for our mid-market and large enterprise customers across multiple industries. At NIMBL, we are proud to be a 2019 SAP Innovation Award winner as for bringing real-time analytics to the San Francisco 49ers, as well as a 2019 SAP Pinnacle Award finalist as the S/4HANA Cloud Partner of the Year. Here's a list of some of the books that we've published through SAP Press. And if you'd like to access any of those, you can visit sap-press.com. And a little bit about our speaker today. We're pleased to have Michael Pytel join us. Michael is a nationally recognized author and certified consultant for S/4HANA. He is a published SAP Press author and has presented at conferences across the country. And we are thrilled to have him. Mike, you can go ahead, accept, and take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to support you today and talk about SAP Commerce Cloud and Spartacus and share with you a lot of what you may have heard about SAP building a new headless storefront and what that might be. Wanted to share what we've learned in our in what we've deployed and what we've been working on over the last couple months. So super excited to get started here. And I wanted to confirm that you can see my screen, Jake. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Fantastic. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get this started. Now, here at NIMBL, we have a variety of focus areas, and reason why I wanted to show the screen is to highlight one of the things that make us different. So when we focus on CX, when we focus on customer experience and commerce, we have deep roots in S4. As you all know, 8 years ago, I wrote the first Suite on HANA book for SAP Press. I've worked my entire life in ERP and have jumped over to the customer experience and commerce realms. And I'm taking a lot of that experience in working with S4 and working with ERP and integrating that into digital commerce. So taking a 50,000 foot view of SAP Commerce, SAP has said, all right, we're going to be the market leader in cloud native enterprise commerce. They, as some people on the phone already know, purchased Hybris a few years back. Hybris is a wonderful e-commerce solution, had a wonderful on-premise installation base. SAP purchased them; they were a market leader, and SAP tucked that into the product portfolio and renamed Hybris to SAP Commerce. And then SAP created a product called SAP Commerce Cloud, which is distinctly different than SAP Commerce. SAP Commerce is essentially Hybris software that you can still run and install in your own data center, as long as you were a Hybris customer previously. Today, if you emailed your SAP account executive or you contacted NIMBL and said, hey, I want to buy SAP Commerce, as a net new customer, the only thing you can do is buy SAP Commerce Cloud, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. So SAP says, hey, we want to be a market leader in commerce, digital commerce, and customer experience. I'm going to talk about two other vendors later in the presentation, but I wanted to show this first to let everybody see. You really have four organizations that are leading in the digital commerce space: SAP, Adobe, who purchased Magento, Oracle, and Salesforce. Salesforce purchased a company named CloudCraze several years back. So Salesforce purchases CloudCraze, SAP purchases Hybris. We really have four vendors that are really the market leaders right now. I do really like the visionary down here called Commerce Tools. I have a reference to them later on, but today we're going to talk about SAP Commerce Cloud. From a B2B perspective, I think a lot of us think about commerce, digital commerce, from a B2C perspective, especially during the quarantine and this global pandemic. We're purchasing from Staples Online and Amazon and doing online grocery ordering, and we're doing a ton of B2C commerce. From a B2B perspective, though, I think some organizations or a lot of our customers are still using field sales and internal sales and customer service departments to service those B2B channels. So when you're selling through distributors, selling through channels other than B2C, we have a lot of traditional sales channels. And we're seeing a huge uptick in the deployment of B2B portals. So, if you're an organization, consumer products, consumer packaged goods, and you sell through grocers, you sell through retailers, you sell through different distribution channels. Some of our older organizations or smaller organizations, they're selling through traditional, again, field sales and customer service departments where you phone in and you fax in an order or you email in an order, et cetera. You have a reoccurring order. Well, now we have B2B portals, and B2B is an important part of SAP Commerce because SAP delivers templates for your organization to deploy that are pre-integrated into S4. So here we have some data from Gartner and Forrester talking about the revenue potential with B2B. So we already know B2C is huge. You have to have B2C commerce. It's a norm. B2B is fast behind it. Now, SAP Commerce Cloud, again, at a high-level functional perspective, it is a product catalog where you can put your products that you're selling, whether that's advanced testing devices or greeting cards, right? It has a product catalog. It has a content management system built into it. Versioning, synchronization to S4, bringing my finished goods from S4 Material Master into my product catalog, assigning images, things like that, integration to digital asset managers, that's there too, web content management. Order management, mobility, personalization, all e-commerce features that you know and love and expect when you have a digital buying experience. We can offer these as well to our B2B partners, our channel partners, our distributors, our wholesalers as well, so that they can access potentially their order history on a mobile device. They can check inventory online, real time, on products that they purchase from you while they're at one of their customers potentially. Going again around that wheel, personalization, allowing that B2B persona, that B2B buyer, that B2B customer to personalize their experience with your website so that they have favorites. I always order these 6 products and I want them in my favorites. Great. SAP Commerce Cloud supports that. Integrations into S4, integrations into a variety of different platforms, that's also included. And I'm going to show you something cool today around customer service, the assisted service module, which is a very cool component of SAP Commerce Cloud for when those times where people are using your digital platform and then need a little bit of extra support. What does that mean? So SAP Commerce Cloud today, I don't want to talk about SAP Commerce Cloud in 2019 or 2018. SAP Commerce Cloud today is now available on public cloud infrastructure. All right, it is running. SAP has initially started deploying SAP Commerce Cloud on Azure. Okay, it is as to the best of my knowledge, and I'm not an SAP product manager. I work around the product, I implement the product, we sell the product. To the best of my knowledge, right now, Azure is the go-to partner for public cloud infrastructure, with Google not far behind from a Google Cloud Platform. It is true pay-as-you-grow subscription model. I'm going to talk about pricing and how you purchase SAP Commerce Cloud. It is elastic. So SAP with today's SAP Commerce Cloud available right now, they've Dockerized it. And so they've made it true auto scaling. So you're no longer paying for a server with X amount of memory and X number of CPUs and X number of gigs of HANA memory. That's not the way we purchase anymore, because that website at night when nobody's using it, you're still paying for that hardware and that old legacy model of buying VMs and buying servers. This is true elastic scaling, meaning if your smallest Docker container is 8 gig of memory and 4 cores, then that's all you're paying for when it comes down to those 3 a.m. requests. But when it's Black Friday or when you have new product launches and it needs to scale out and have 100 different nodes to support all of your volume, well, it's elastic. It auto scales. It's fantastic. Self-service environment management. SAP has provided a wonderful portal for you to manage infrastructure on Azure or Google Cloud Platform. It comes with disaster recovery and backups. You don't have to worry about patching operating systems. You don't have to worry about disaster recovery across regions in Azure or zones in Azure. SAP has worked with Azure to automate all of this so that you can focus on running a commerce solution and not have to focus on necessarily the infrastructure behind it. Today, the data centers in yellow are available. The blue ones are coming up online. What you're seeing here is regions within Azure, and then within each region you have multiple zones. So you could choose the East and West in the United States for Azure. You could choose Central or Eastern China, et cetera, throughout all of these countries. I've also provided links whenever I'm referencing documentation that you can go out and view. If you want to see more about those data centers, you can. So SAP Commerce Cloud is made up of a few things, all right? So at the very top level here, we have Spartacus. Spartacus is what we're going to talk about in the second half of the presentation. That's the storefront, the front end. That's where your B2B partner, your B2C customer is logging in order to order, view, check order status, pay invoices. That's where they're logging in, that storefront, that yellow box on top. That is that we're going to talk about that later in the presentation. SAP Commerce Cloud is that royal blue in the middle, where I have my REST APIs, my cart, my checkout, my promotion engine, my back office functionality, my SmartEdit. We're going to talk about that. PCM, product catalog management, our integrated APIs. That's SAP Commerce Cloud. That's what you're purchasing when you buy Commerce Cloud. Now over on the right side of the screen, we have Cloud Platform Extension Factory. This is where I can build my own microservices. Maybe I want to build an API to my third-party logistics provider. And my third-party logistics provider that does my shipping, like a lot of our shoe manufacturers, they don't actually ship their own product. They have third-party logistics partners. Maybe I want to build a microservice that reaches out to that 3PL to check inventory and trigger a shipment. I could build that in SAP Cloud Platform Extension Factory. Going over to the left side of the screen, we have Product Content Hub and Context-Driven Services. These are two additional services provided by SAP. Product Content Hub is what enables you to create a sort of a product catalog that then you can expose to other e-com retailers. So let's say you wanted to create a product catalog and expose your product catalog to Amazon and to other online retailers, to Alibaba, to etc. I want to have a single global product catalog. Product Content Hub is that solution. When talking about product catalogs, when I have a product catalog in Commerce Cloud, there's nothing else additional to buy. I can have a product catalog in Commerce Cloud. It's in Commerce Cloud. It's usable in Commerce Cloud. It's mine, and it's part of that subscription. When you want to have that product catalog that is available globally in multiple languages and integrated through APIs to multiple other e-retailers, that's Content Hub. That's another webinar another day. Context-driven services is an add-on that I do see a lot of our customers purchasing for B2C scenarios. I have not implemented this for B2B scenarios yet, but essentially, I'm going to talk about context-driven services in a little bit, but it's that recommended feature functions that you often see. When I go to Amazon and I'm looking at a computer stand, it recommends saying, hey, what are the wrist guards and things like that I want to buy with my new computer stand and my new keyboard, etc. Now, we talked a little at a high level about the architecture, right? Commerce Cloud and all these different functions. Well, connectivity-wise, back down to your data center, the SAP does support VPN support back down to your data center, so you can have that because again, it's running on Azure public cloud infrastructure. Azure supports a slew of different VPN vendors. You can have a VPN from Azure back down to your on-premise environment. Or if you want, we can also use Cloud Platform Integration, Cloud Connector, or have direct connectivity as well. Maybe you have your own F5, your own firewall device. You want to expose S4 functions, ERP functions through the firewall and whitelist some IPs. You can absolutely do that as well. And then there's third-party integrations. SAP being as large an organization they are and their stated goal of wanting to be, the #1 digital commerce vendor in the world, they naturally have integrations to payment processors. They naturally have integrations to a variety of third-party applications. I've just highlighted two here, payment processor and analytics. From an analytics perspective, you can integrate Commerce Cloud into Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics, but you can also integrate this into your SAP Analytics Cloud environment as well. So very cool integrations there. Again, SAP doing a good job of keeping it in the family. So as we look at commerce, and I told you I wanted to talk about B2B, I think we all understand B2C pretty well. We have a product catalog, we have pricing, we accept online orders. Well, B2B can be a little bit more complex. B2B scenarios, I could have configured products as I have over here on my left. I could have order on behalf of, meaning I want to push a cart down to a distributor to say, hey, here's your recommended order for the fall. Please let me know if you agree with this, and then click buy now if you agree with this cart. Maybe we want to trigger replenishment orders. We want to push carts down to our B2B partners. That is something that is supported in B2B commerce with SAP Commerce. Also within B2B commerce, we have the ability to set up our distributors or wholesaler partners, our B2B partners organization. Maybe within their organization, they have a multi-level hierarchy of approvals. They might have 5 purchasing agents and 1 senior buyer or senior purchaser that has the approval for everything. Why not let all of their purchasing agents build carts, add product to commerce within Commerce Cloud, add it to their cart, and then submit that cart for approval to their manager, and then only after your B2B partner manager approves is the order actually placed within inside of S4. So you have full order management orchestration, you have approvals, you have carts, you can integrate context-driven services and recommend content to your B2B partners. I can have all of my online catalogs, my reference manuals, I can have all of that content in that B2B as well. For example, we have a retailer, a CPG, consumer packaged goods partner, that in their B2B portal, they not only allow that B2B partner to place orders for materials and goods and marketing and advertising type stuff, they also can look at, hey, what should the spring display look like, and have sort of guidelines on how to set up end caps and things like that. So the B2B portal is not just a place for placing orders, but it's also a place for exchanging information between you, the manufacturer, or the person providing the goods, back to your channel sales, distributors, wholesalers, etc. And it comes with a whole slew of self-service customer account management. You can create an administrator at that B2B partner, and then they can create accounts within their organization for their team members. Now, going back to integration with S4 and ERP, wherever you see S4 in this deck, also do remember that I'm talking about ERP as well. SAP Commerce Cloud, being an SAP product, is well integrated into SAP S/4HANA on-premise. We do have the ability to hit variant configuration for configurable product. If I need to do that, if I have a configurable product, I want to make sure my configuration rules are validated in my commerce environment. I can hit those VC configuration inside of S4. I can also look at pricing. I'm going to show you an example screenshot here of a B2B portal in a little bit. I want to get, when vendor A logs in or customer A logs in, customer A has this pricing agreement, they see this pricing. Customer B logs in, they have a different pricing agreement, they see different pricing than customer A. We can absolutely have dynamic pricing. We can have that tied back into S4 to different pricing agreements. So if pricing is set to your purchase price for these products up is Y, and then when you spend $1 million, it's Z. Fantastic. That is also there. ATP, available to promise, and lead time checking. We can have a real-time track from Commerce Cloud into S4 for lead time and available to promise. Delivery documents, returns and refunds, absolutely available. It's 100% integrated into S4. In terms of fulfillment and fulfilling orders, your organization may not have this complex scenario, but if you wanted it, you could. You could enable a scenario where a B2B partner is online, and you could look at product from different locations and establish what is the fastest way to get this person product. I can get it from this distribution center in 1 day, I can get it from this warehouse in 3 days, or I could direct them to a flagship store or something else, right? Though lots of scenarios supported. Available to promise, availability checking is absolutely rule-based. It's configurable and 100% supported out of the box. Now, all the APIs that I'm talking about here with SAP are templatized. There is nothing to buy here when it talks about integration between Commerce Cloud and S/4HANA or ERP. These are included with your purchase of SAP Commerce Cloud. I've given you here the URL, but just a quick highlight of some of the integrations. Some of them are batch driven, some of them are interactive. Materials, pricing, stock, customers, business partners, order data, notifications, cancellations, invoices, right? Those are all iDocs in S4. We can replicate those into the Commerce Cloud environment so that they're static. We can also enable real-time checking, though, as well. Not everything is iDoc driven. We will hit OData APIs for other scenarios. Now, in terms of compatibility, I think a lot of people forget that SAP ERP 6 is 15 years old, I believe, is how old it is now. A lot of people forget that, how old it is. But if you're ERP 6 and Enhancement Pack 7 or higher, good to go, no SPs needed. If you're Enhancement Pack 6 or 5, you do need a support package stack if you want to integrate with Cloud Platform. This is more from a NetWeaver perspective. And then S/4HANA, right? All modern releases of S4, 1909, 1809, et cetera, all supported with the integration with Commerce Cloud. Now, as we're stepping through and we're talking about this, you know that SAP wants to be the #1 commerce vendor in the world from a SaaS perspective. They obviously are supporting the integrations into S4. They're also providing you a platform with accelerators and templates. Now, an accelerator has been around for a long time. Hybris has supported B2B accelerators, B2C accelerators for localization in China, accelerators for the telecom industry, financial services industry. I already said telecom. They have these accelerators. The accelerators run inside of the commerce platform. And I'm going to talk about what's different with Spartacus in a little bit, but these B2B templates are available and exist today. In this example here, we're a company that produces power tools, and we sell through distributors and wholesalers. And this accelerator is included with my Hybris or SAP Commerce Cloud purchase. It gives me real-time inventory into S4. I get template orders. I get customer-specific pricing, so that when I log in, I see my pricing. Whereas if customer B logged in, they'd see theirs. I can buy, with this template site, I can buy via purchase order, via credit card, or even use credit memos. So if I've returned goods and I have a credit memo, I can apply credit memos to my cart and pay for those. And then dispute management, shipment tracking, returns processing, return label printing, things like that. That storefront is available out of the box. Now, if I don't like it though, if I don't like the way that it's organized, SAP Commerce Cloud has a feature called SmartEdit. So yes, I am not going to, well, number one, I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to need a front-end web developer as part of your Hybris or SAP Commerce project. You absolutely going to need a developer to help create, modify, skin content from a front-end perspective. Saying that, SAP does provide this tool called SmartEdit, which allows you to essentially do in-browser editing of your storefront without needing to write code, right? This is just one option that you have available to you. I can create different zones. I can create, these are called slots. I can have a middle slot, L1s, different size slots from left to right. I can add and change my navigation. It is a WYSIWYG, right? What you see is what you get. I can configure it, and it is configuration. It is not coding. So you can have a junior analyst, an e-commerce analyst support you, not have to have a full stack developer support you. Also talking about SmartEdit, just continuing that topic, you also have the ability in SmartEdit to do look at the different viewpoints. So I can say, show me what it looks like on a desktop, show me what it's going to look like on a cell phone, on a tablet, landscape, portrait mode, all these different things, right? We can look at those with SmartEdit. Now, one of the things I think is super cool is assisted service module. So on the very top of my screen, you see ASM, and you see a link there between a cart and a person. The scenario here is you've got a B2B partner or a B2C customer. They're building a cart on your e-commerce site, and they have a problem. They have a challenge. They don't know what products to add. They don't know how to configure this product. They don't know how to add a payment method. Well, using chatbots, using the assisted service module, you could essentially enable a customer service agent sitting in your office to attach themselves to that customer's cart, to that customer session within SAP Commerce Cloud, and add or remove change their cart, update their cart, help them add payment methods. Whatever we want to configure, we can allow so that your customer service team can essentially see what the customer sees, right? They can look at the actual shopping cart online to see what that customer's added to cart, to validate things, look at things, change things, modify things, communicate to them, educate them, inform them, etc. So that's called the assisted service module, and that is part of Commerce Cloud. That is nothing additional to buy. That is included as a feature function of Commerce Cloud that I think is fantastic, right? I think it's a very cool tool worth mentioning. Now, as with SAP and all their products, we have versions and we have editions, right? So we have two editions. We have standard edition and professional edition. And I've included this table here in this deck. Yes, you can go to sap.com/commerce and look at this as well, but I've included two tables here. We will send this presentation out to all attendees so you have this. But this essentially allows you to compare what is included with the different editions. I do think that for me right now, 99% of I have zero standard edition customers. Everybody's buying professional edition. They want that ability to create a VPN gateway to Azure. They want that additional flexibility. They want the platinum upgrade service. I'll talk about that in a little while. So I right now I've only seen customers purchasing professional edition, but I wanted to give you guys that comparison. Now there's an additional component. So you can buy SAP Commerce Cloud Standard or Professional. You can also, as an add-on, if you so choose, buy context-driven services. Now, one thing I want to point up at the top of the screen here, you can see consent, right? We use cookies to give you the best experience. We're checking what you do, et cetera, except all versions of Commerce Cloud come with consent management that is included with the product. It's there. Now, with that consent management and CCPA and GDPR compliance, we can also begin leveraging some machine learning and have some recommendations driven to our customers in Commerce Cloud as to, hey, you were looking at this before, are you interested in this? Hey, based on your purchase history, you've purchased these things, have you thought about these add-ons or these additional items? We can generate those behavioral insights real time. We can personalize the site. This is an additional service. It's licensed in blocks of page views. So a one block is 5 million page views. So we need to look at your site performance and using your price on this, but it is available as but I wanted to highlight that it is an additional pay product. Using these tools, using Commerce Cloud, we get a lot of data. We not only allow our customers or our B2B partners to place orders, but we also can collect information on them, again, because again, we're doing that consent management where they're opting in and saying, yes, cookies are allowed. We can understand how are they accessing our commerce site? Are they using their phones? Are they using their desktops? Are they in their corporate network? Or are they on the road? Are they searching for us on Google and then being redirected in? Do they have a lot of cart abandonment? Or meaning, are they building carts and checking pricing and then leaving? Does that mean they're price shopping us? What are the things? Are they doing returns? What categories and products are they looking at in the product catalog? We can use Commerce Cloud to understand this behavior, and this is in this global pandemic where people are no longer allowed to go travel on site and sell on the road. If your field sales force is now, sitting at home, they have a lot of this information in their head. They know that customer reaches out to them for a quote every quarter to do price shopping, and that data may not be captured somewhere. Well, when you're using Commerce Cloud technology, these tools to enable B2B shopping, B2B buying, we can begin collecting more data that maybe our sales team or field sales team is not sharing, right? It's just another sales channel, another sales tool. We can control it a little bit better. Now, in terms of buying this product, there are two ways to purchase SAP Commerce Cloud. We can buy based on blocks of orders. So I believe 50,000 orders a year is the minimum block, meaning I can have unlimited storefronts, and I'm allowed to process 50,000 sales orders. And yes, the ones that are canceled are still counted. So yes, 50,000 sales orders, I want to buy that. So if my product's worth $1 bajillion and I don't want to pay by gross material value, I can buy by the quantity of orders. Gross material value is for organizations that maybe have a high number of sales orders and low cost items as part of that. So they're ordering hundreds and thousands of items through you every month. You may not want to place, you do the quantity of sales orders, you want to do gross material value, the value of all sales orders that are processed through that storefront. At a high level, just looking at, what are we looking at in terms of if we buy Commerce Cloud, what does an implementation look like and what are roles and responsibilities? It's a pretty typical project methodology. It is templatized. It is a product that can be customized, but is preferred to be configured. We have our typical project duration for these B2B, B2C sites is anywhere between 5 and 6 months. That is pretty common. If you go straight templates, and SAP has another product called Upscale Commerce, which is even further templatized. You can theoretically go live in a month. I will talk about Upscale Commerce in another webinar, but today just focusing on Commerce Cloud. We have a variety of services that are included with a project. Now, you obviously have, we'd love for you to use NIMBL as a partner in deploying SAP Commerce Cloud, but SAP is also including services for you as part of your subscription with Commerce Cloud. And I'm going to highlight some of those now. They're called cloud readiness checks. So SAP is going to set up your environment. You're going to sign the paper, you're going to sign the contract that says I'm buying Commerce Cloud and I want 50,000 orders, and you're going to get a tenant provision. Well, SAP will go back to Azure and create your tenant and all the automation that goes on there. And then you're going to get a user ID. You're going to get set up, you're going to get a single project administrator set up. That project manager is going to set up other people and developers and business analysts, etc. And then we're going to go through the project. We're going to set up the project. We're going to do a design thinking. We're going to talk about the UI and the flow of a sales order and the flow of a return and paying invoices and the flow of that user experience in the e-commerce environment. Once we get that design set up, we're going to execute our first cloud readiness check with SAP, where we get their blessing on everything that we plan on doing. We then go into delivery mode. So we've got a design that's been approved by you, the customer, and NIMBL mutually, and then SAP has blessed it as well. We then go into our development environments. We're doing configuration. We're probably doing some custom development as well from a skinning and look and feel perspective. We're going to do some performance testing. We're preparing all of our content, our product catalog, and making sure that synchronization and all that integration with SAP S4 is working. And then we're going to do a cloud readiness check too. And this is a service that is, again, run by SAP that is going to help us understand, from SAP's perspective, are we operationally ready to put this e-commerce site in production? Right, so we got our cloud readiness check. There are additional services that are available from SAP as part of your cloud subscription. Those are design reviews, code reviews, performance reviews, system reviews. Those are pay services. I think they're pretty self-explanatory just by the descriptions, and we'll do another webinar where we talk about these services a little bit more, but they are paid services that are also available from SAP with your Commerce Cloud subscription. Data migration, if you're moving from on-premise or a different e-commerce platform, we can absolutely tap into this data migration service to move data from your on-premise Hybris environment to SAP Commerce Cloud, or from, like say, Magento or Commerce Tools, from that environment into Commerce Cloud. So Spartacus, that was part of the topic. I'm sure a lot of people joined today wondering, what is Spartacus and who is Spartacus? Well, Commerce Cloud today, these are numbers that were published recently in a workshop that I attended. SAP Hybris, again, has thousands of customers, hundreds of thousands of customers out in the world. From a Commerce Cloud perspective, 115 customers live on Commerce Cloud today, 400 in process. It's only been available for 2.5 years, one and a half years from a production perspective. So a year and a half in, SAP's got 115 live environments running in Commerce Cloud, 400 people, and the average project here duration is 5 months. So people are able to adopt this pretty quickly and get started. Now, what is Spartacus? Spartacus is a modern UI. Okay, so in Hybris on-premise, I was doing a lot of JavaScript development, and I was developing within Hybris. So if I wanted to create multiple storefronts, I had to have a Hybris instance, and I had multiple storefronts. If I wanted to add features to one storefront, I potentially had to upgrade my entire Hybris environment, updating all my storefronts. Well, a headless architecture decouples that. My storefront is separate from my backend processing. This is what a lot of modern web applications are built on today, having a sort of front-end UI that runs in a container, and then back-end applications that are essentially the engine, right? They're the APIs for the cart, for pricing, for paying invoices, for order status, for availability checking, things like that. Now, Spartacus from SAP, I think, is fantastic because they went 100% pure JavaScript and Angular, right? So they chose to do an open framework. They didn't, with Fiori, they created their own version of HTML5, right? It's called SAP UI5. It's their own flavor of HTML5. Nope, that did not occur here with Spartacus. Spartacus is 100% JavaScript, 100% Angular. You can go to any boot camp, any coding boot camp in most universities, and hire Angular and JavaScript developers directly out of the university, directly out of a boot camp. They can sit down in front of Spartacus and say, oh, I get this, perfect. Off and running, they're going. So it's open source, number 2, really love that. If you go to GitHub, SAP has a project for Spartacus, and I'll have links where you can look at all of the Spartacus code that is, again, in Angular and JavaScript that you can use as a customer. You can build a branch and build your own branch of it, or you can utilize those libraries so that as SAP upgrades Spartacus, you then get those upgrades as well. So again, as I was talking about before, on the left side of the screen, we have the Commerce Platform, and then we have the Accelerator Storefront, that B2B Accelerator, that tool store that sits inside of Commerce Cloud. It's part of Hybris, it's inside. Well, headless storefronts are a little bit different. They're outside. They can be upgraded, enhanced, changed independent of the back end, and the back end can be upgraded and enhanced independent of the front end. So as long as I'm upgrading or enhancing my add to cart service so that I'm only adding new functionality, not removing any, my storefront can stay the same, but I can do my back-end upgrades. Another way to visualize this, I have two brands. I have Storefront A, Storefront B, Brand A, Brand B up top. I'm using the same SAP Commerce Cloud as a backend behind them. I'm using the same extension factory, my custom microservices, and third-party integrations that I may have writing or third-party providers. I'm using my own payment processor, CyberSource or PayPal or whatever I'm using, those third-party integrations there for those payment processes. Headless commerce allows us to be more agile, more nimble in the way that we deploy our storefronts. In terms of the frameworks, all open frameworks that are used in modern web applications today. Again, the benefit for you, SAP customer, is that I'm not hiring sort of an SAP developer. I can go literally to any boot camp and hire an Angular developer. Angular and React are sort of the dominant frameworks that we see and we encounter in the marketplace, JavaScript being a core skill set. That is amazing that SAP's done that. Your storefront I can now use a front-end developer from anywhere. Now, Commerce Cloud is changing over the next year and next year in that SAP is creating what are called domain services. They have fully adopted a headless architecture where your storefront in Spartacus or anything you choose, you don't have to use Spartacus. You can write your own front-end storefront in any framework you wanted. Ideally, you're using Spartacus as a guide in the beginning. But domain services, they're going to have a domain service for the content, for search, for cart, for checkout, for store services. That's all going to tie back into the Commerce Cloud platform as a service that SAP is building on the back end. Now, I obviously wanted to show you the what does it look like. So I'm going to go ahead and everybody will have this as well. I'm going to go ahead and click here. And within Chrome, this is what Spartacus looks and feels like. It's going to pull up. There we go. It's a storefront, right? This is Spartacus running on Commerce Cloud. If I wanted to, you yourself, you could sign in. You can see here, I've signed in previously. I've created an account. Great. And you can see here, remembered my cart. That's a common feature of all B2B, B2C commerce platforms where if I log out or I build my cart and I leave, I can look at my carts at another time. I can look at my order history. What have I ordered in the past? Well, I ordered a camera and I paid with a Visa. Oh, okay, great. This is Spartacus. It is responsive. It is a progressive web application. You can see here my consent management, right, for CCPA, the California Privacy Protection Act, GDPR protection, right, consent management is core. I have the ability to browse. I can shop, in this case, digital cameras, so there's a product catalog. I can place orders, pay invoices, look at invoices. This is Spartacus. Comes out of the box, multi-language, multi-currency, everything you would expect in a B2B, B2C buying experience is available in Spartacus today. But that doesn't mean that's the end. There's a roadmap that SAP has defined, and that roadmap includes a lot of information around what features are planned to be released and when. Now, you heard me talk about a little bit earlier that Hybris had a B2B accelerator that is built inside of the Hybris platform. Today, Spartacus does not have parity with that B2B template. The first release of B2B was just released, Spartacus 2.0. SAP has a clear roadmap, and I don't have time today to go through the roadmap in detail, but the gist of it is they will have full parity between Hybris accelerators and Spartacus by 2021 or during 2021. And so this is their roadmap. This is where they want to go. Now, SAP is going headless. What does that mean? Well, everybody's going headless. So I talked about before, Salesforce, purchase Cloud Craze. Salesforce is enabling what they call headless commerce. Commerce Tools, another vendor available out there providing great content, great commerce platforms, also going headless. So what does this mean? Well, it means you can have two different development skill sets, front end, back end, right? No more need for a full stack development, that unicorn developer that is very difficult to find. Well, front end developers we can hire from boot camps, back end developers we can hire from boot camps. This is great. It means independent release cycles as well. I can upgrade or enhance one storefront and not affect another. I can upgrade my back-end engines, my APIs, and not impact those storefronts as well. So truly independent release cycles, segregation of duties between front-end and back-end, enabling us to be more agile in the way that we deliver these commerce platforms. Now, I couldn't talk about commerce without talking about Qualtrics, right? We need to be able to measure feedback on those B2B, B2C sales channels. So when you're in the e-com environment, what are people thinking about your buying experience? Did they enjoy that? And if not, can we solicit some feedback? And the answer is yes. So Qualtrics plugs directly into SAP Commerce Cloud, out-of-the-box integrations there. Leaving you with more information, product roadmap, service subscription, webinar digest. I definitely recommend anybody here clicking on the webinar digest so that you can get advanced notice of SAP's webinars as they relate to Commerce Cloud and Spartacus. I participate in these all the time. That's how I learn. So when I'm working on projects and I need to learn the latest and greatest, I attend those webinars. And then the GitHub repository for commerce tools for Spartacus, I've listed there down at the bottom as well. Lastly, the information page for everything CX from SAP, whether that's templates or videos or how-to guides, is sap.com/CX works. Now, saying that, I would like to go ahead and pass it over to Jake.
Let's get the first question, Mike, is from Dave. David asks, is Spartacus a template, and do we need to buy it?
So Spartacus is not a paid product. Spartacus is an open source project supported by SAP, provided by SAP with integrations into SAP Commerce Cloud. When you do need to be a Commerce Cloud customer to use Spartacus. So we have, so it is absolutely not a paid product. It is included. And then in terms of a template, I would say no, it's not a template. It's a development framework. I would source from those libraries and building my storefront. They do have a B2C example store, that camera store that I showed you. There's also going to be a B2B example store that you can use. These are examples. I wouldn't necessarily use them as a template. So you would add these Spartacus libraries to your GitHub project, and then you would build your storefront from there and reuse as much as you can, because again, we don't want to, that'll speed our deployment. So great question. Thank you, Jake.
And next one is Arun. Arun asks, what type of developer would I need to hire to support SAP Commerce?
There's another great question. So, Hybris is a platform as a service running in Azure, and so you will need sort of a Hybris administrator, someone that kind of has an infrastructure mindset, almost that basis skill set that would assist in setting up endpoints and SSL certificates and whitelists and things like that. So there's a Hybris admin, absolutely. There's absolutely going to be a Hybris backend developer. Think of this just like you would hire a Node.js developer as your backend developer. You will need a backend developer, and then you also more than likely would need a front-end developer, someone just focused on that storefront. They're experienced in either designing or building front-end web UIs that are pleasing to the eye naturally, and feature function around experience with e-commerce is wonderful. And then they would access APIs provided by the SAP Commerce Platform, or access APIs created by the backend developer that you hired as well. So we do see a separation of skill sets, front and back end. Naturally, you can find senior level resources that know it all and know both front end and back end. But in general, we see typically those responsibilities segregated, front end, back end, and administration.
Cool. And we have another question coming in from Terry. It's Accelerator versus Spartacus. If I want to implement SAP Commerce this year, would I use an Accelerator or Spartacus?
So this is a great question, and it's something that you need to look at. If the accelerator, the B2B accelerator, is an 80%, 70% fit to your requirements, you're talking about 2 or 3 weeks, and you've got a framework of a store developed, and you're modifying and it's deployed. So you could definitely, if you're implementing this year, use those accelerators inside of the Commerce Cloud environment. If it's a direct fit. If it's not a direct fit, if it's only 40% usable, then this year you would build on Spartacus, and you would either wait for features, functions that you need, or you would build those services yourself and deploy in Spartacus, because SAP has a clearly defined roadmap for 2020, 21, and 22. They're enabling that headless storefront. Their go-forward position is a headless storefront. Their go-forward platform is Spartacus. They have said they are stopped all accelerator development. Accelerator features, anything that comes up for accelerators will be bug fixes only, or security fixes only. There's no new development in Hybris or Commerce Cloud accelerators. All effort and energy is focused towards Spartacus there. So if the accelerator is a perfect fit for you today, you could implement it this year, run it all of this year, run it all of next year, and then in 2022, which is when you would more than likely want to upgrade or modernize your web storefront, you would then transition over to Spartacus. I hope I answered that question. It's a little bit of a philosophical question. If it's a good fit, 70, 80, 90% fit today, you would use accelerator. If not, then I would look at Spartacus.
Well, looks like that's it for questions. All right, great. At this point, I'm going to say thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. Mike, again, thanks for all your insight. Provided a lot of content in a short amount of time. If I didn't mention it before, I believe Mike did. Everybody will be receiving an edited copy of this presentation. So if you stepped away or missed a slide, don't worry about it. You will be receiving the full video itself. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach back out to us at bnimble.com/contact, or you can also reach out directly to Michael at michaelpytel@bnimble.com, and we'll include that information in the send as well too. So at this point, again, I'm going to say one more time, thanks, Mike. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and have a great week.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.